Are you an agent struggling to understand real estate economics? Would you benefit from learning how top agents structure their businesses? Then you've come to the right place. And welcome to the Nerdy Agent Podcast Business Tip of the Week.
Business tip.
It's the business tip of the week.
Nothing to add there, Josh?
Nothing to add.
All right. Today we're going to talk about what you need to know and research to be an expert in the room when showing a house.
It's a lot of things that could be on this list.
I was going to say, I'm going to try and keep this short.
So,
Luke, what was the first thing that I taught you when you asked what you should look for in a house?
high efficiency furnace versus low efficiency furnace.
Yes, and I think the point here is, we do these showings tours where we talk about like everything super in depth. If you just know like 2 or 3 things, you can kind of fake it till you make it. But you should at a high level like understand electrical systems, plumbing systems, drains and supplies, HVAC systems, different carpentry things as you walk throughout houses to know like, was this done professionally? How old is this? Window siding, these kinds of like expensive
Cabinets,
stuff.
yeah.
Cabinets, right? So, but I think just getting 2 or 3 of them down that you can point out every single time. So like if you really know windows, that every time you walk in a house, you can open a couple windows and talk about what the windows are, what the brand is, what makes them good, what makes them crappy, and a furnace, right? Like, or cabinetry or carpentry or tile or whatever that is. I think just being able to point out a few things is going to put you like above 95% of agents.
Yeah, it's shocking. When I wasn't an agent, like talking to other agents though, the amount of people that like don't know anything about the product is kind of amazing to me. Like you're selling something, but you don't really know much about it. So I go into every showing. I stole this line from Luke when I first started was, I'm going to point out all of the things in here that are wrong with the house and or are going to cost you a lot of money in the near future. Because the last thing I would want is for you to buy this house and then 2 years from now call me and be like, I had to spend $20,000 on these things. I think the easiest one for anyone to do when they're brand new is the HVAC stuff. Because you can see an old air conditioner and you can be like, it's $5,000 to replace that. You can see an old furnace. You can say it's $5,000 to $6,000 to replace that. You can look at a water heater and it literally tells you the year. You can say that's $1,800 to put a new water heater in. But honestly, I don't think what I did even before you guys were in the industry and I was buying houses, like I don't think agents even pointed out utilities or even went in the utility rooms with me. It's like $15,000 worth of stuff that might be really old. I might have to spend in the next 3 to 5 years that never even got pointed out. It's like, well, the kitchen's really cute. But you should be looking at these high ticket stuff and telling them about it because you'll gain credibility immediately.
Biggest point there too, when you are with, especially a first time home buyer, somebody who might not know, what's the cost of stuff? This is a brand new furnace. But tell them what it might cost if it does break, because they're going to want to know that number in their head, and they don't know anything.
The difference between house A and house B is this one has all new mechanicals, and this one doesn't. So this one's actually about $15,000 more valuable as a result of the new mechanicals in this house.
And especially if you were the first-time home buyer, let's say in like a townhouse. It's a 2000 built townhouse. It's the only item. The furnace and the air conditioner and the water heater are like the only
in that
items.
age, yeah.
And if you don't know what stuff costs, just get a good Rolodex of contractors. When I was early on, I would just take pictures and be like, hey, what would this cost to fix? And they would just text me back the number. I'd be like, here's what that's going to cost to fix. I don't have to be the expert in the room necessarily. I just have to know some people.
Another fun thing too, I feel like that you gain credibility in it's another like maybe a step up in terms of like houses, but like knowing the year the house was built and the area and when they were all kind of built in that area and the history of that goes a really long way. So even if you don't know like housing in general, knowing the history of a neighborhood that, all of this neighborhood or this city was built around the 1990s because that's when they were expanding out this way. So every house in here is right around 30 years old. And at 30 years, you'll need hopefully the roof has been replaced and hopefully the siding's been replaced, but you might have original things in this house. So it's going to cost you X, Y, and Z to replace those things. Like
or like my favorite power move when I say this house is probably a 49 because of the steel they had left over after World War II.
You just gain credibility.
Like historical facts.
And I think it's important. I mean, we're really process based. I really like to write things down. So what I would say to agents is go back, listen to this, write all this stuff down, right? And then go tour houses. And in the area that you want to be the guy that can walk through and go, oh, it's a 49 because it's a steel beam and they had steel left over from World War II. The only way to do that is when a house comes on the market in St. Louis Park, we know that house is on the market and we've probably toured it.
Yep.
Right? That's like how we've done it. And you can do tours by yourself without clients. It's the best way to learn houses.
On our last podcast, we talked about how to have success in the next year, right?
Good one.
And one of the things AJ said was, what are you going to do when you have nothing to do? My first week as an agent, I had nothing to do. I literally drove around and went to random showings at random houses and drove around neighborhoods and then made a spreadsheet of like every city within the area that we served, when the houses were built, rough prices of them, what kind of things to expect in them, so that I could create the knowledge in my brain of how to actually serve my clients in those areas. So think about things like that and how you can learn those things, because you're going to be more successful long-term by doing so.
Love that. And that's all we have for the Nerdy Agent Business Tip of the Week.
Business tip. Business tip of the week.
Be better.
Goodbye.